good morning, everybody. How are we doing? It's Tuesday, and we're raring to go. Why didn't this thing reset? Uh-oh. What the hell happened there? Good morning. So when I got here, I had an email from a friend of mine who I talked to yesterday, and we've got a new project going, I think. Well, we're going to have a new project going, but I don't really, I don't know what it is, but it sounds like it could be something great. And usually when my friend Wendy calls me, or I talk to my friend Wendy, she always has something really cool going on. So who knows? I may be a part of something that I can announce sometime in the future, and we'll see how that goes. But I just realized I look orange on this screen again, which doesn't make me happy. So when I play the intro, I'm going to fix that. Anyway, that's it. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Tuesday, the 16th of February, 2021. Yes, just a few days post victory for one politician, but there's another politician who seems like they're going to have some troubles today. Well, not today, but just this coming up, and that's who the featured person is on the thumbnail and in the title. Hoping he can sing some Shaggy songs. It wasn't me, but he's got issues. Yes, that is that other politician from New York, Andrew Cuomo. And thank you, real quick. This is Kyle. You are first as far as the old donations go today, and thank you very much for the two. And Kyle says, hello, chat people and P-Dawg. Well, hello, Kyle, to you too. Thank you very much for the whoa, that's really weird. That doesn't sound good. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'm glad you're here. And by the way, Kyle,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
All right, so that would be you. Thank you very much. Also, let's just do some quick good mornings as people are starting to float into the stream and into the chat. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Richo, our friend from Down Under, was first in the chat and gets the bell. Thank you very much for being here, my friend. Also, good morning to Maddie, quoting Shaggy for the title. Yeah, you caught that. I saw your, thank you again, Maddie, too. Did I say Maddie yet? Good morning, Maddie. Thanks for tweeting out the show this morning. Also, good morning to Tyler F., Mike Savage, Blarg, Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, Diesel Dave. I missed that sup effers thing that you do, and I'm glad to see you're back. Also, good morning to Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. Also, Gunfox61, who so kindly administers the Discord server for us. Also, good morning to Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
And also, let's see, the one who formerly is the one who tubes, but changed the name. But anyway, the one who. Like, is that the what? Like, is this kind of a Whoville thing? Post the Lorax, so you're the one who left? Yeah.
I see.
Oops. Let's try that again. I'm not so funny anymore, am I? Also, good morning to Cultus 4. Let's see. As I scroll down here, Advocatus Diaboli, the Devil's Advocate. Damn it, Chadwick's in the house, aka Chadwick Dupree. Good morning, Cracker Rob. Good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Good morning, JQR Code. Yo, P-Dawg, why aren't you pushing Trovo? I'm as far as the other platforms that are the live stream platforms, I actually have a Trovo channel. I haven't set up multi-stream yet, and I think there's a way to do it just strictly through Streamlabs where I can go through it rather than going to, there's a, what's that one that called, I think it's called multi-stream. But I just haven't set it up yet. So one of these days I will also be live streaming simultaneously on Trovo, on DLive, and other platforms. But for now, it's just going to be YouTube. And we'll get there. Right now, the small number of subscribers I have, I think, as I grow, I probably will definitely use those other platforms just to have other places, and maybe even Twitch, although Twitch is kind of weird when you're doing this kind of stuff, and they're not really conservative friendly, so to speak. But I'll see. But I will try some other platforms. Also, good morning. Let's say I finished the good morning here real quick. Good morning to You're a Ridiculous Lunatic. Nice to see you. Zablu's in the house. And I think that's it. Marty, DLive is not good. Well, yeah, I mean, it just depends. I really don't do anything that I'm still fairly censor friendly. So I probably wouldn't get in trouble there either, but we'll see. It's now up to a blistering 9 degrees Fahrenheit here. Woo. Well, that's balmy compared to where I live. It was 13 below when I came home this morning. Good morning, Spidey Man. Twitch is not a good idea. Yeah, Twitch probably isn't really conducive to what I do, even though, it's interesting. Who knows? But I will. The reason I'm going to do these other platforms is just for the fact that you never know how your days are numbered on YouTube. Any little thing they could probably. I'm sure that I have old videos that if they went back and really scoured them, they probably would find something that they could make an excuse for kicking me off or as a community guideline strike. But I'm not taking my old videos down. I've decided I'm just not going to do that. If that happens, I'll deal with it then. But until then, I'm leaving them up. I'm not super controversial either. So that may be a factor of why they haven't taken me down. But anyway, all right. So, by the way, if you are here, enjoy the stay, but please like what we're doing here if you like it. And if you would be so kind as to share the stream out on your favorite social media, and donations can be done through SuperChats and or the StreamYards, which is in the description down below, or it'll be in the chat once in a while. So there you go. All right, let's see here. We're going to talk about the the Doctor of Death. I don't know what to call that. Andrew Cuomo. And one of the things I want to do. Oh, real quick. Thank you. Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Who says, I can't stay long. FTG Cuomo, the Nana Killer. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Thank you very much. And, looks like there's quite a few people who agree with you. Cuomo is going through a fascinating situation right now because we found out that the state of New York has been lying to us, and so and he's having a hard time explaining it, and so he's doing it. Look, remember back a while ago, I had a show that I called. I think the title was "Donald Trump is a Jackass," right? I had that show. And it wasn't because I think Donald Trump does things wrong. I just think he's kind of a please excuse me if you are from New York or particularly New York City, but he's kind of an obnoxious New York style politician. Not which is in some ways for Trump at least, I thought was a feature, not a fault. Right? I think he. He just has that kind of abrasive, straightforward way he's going to do things. Now, Andrew Cuomo. But the other thing is Donald Trump is kind of a New York business Democrat. I mean, in some ways too. But like I said, the style behooves what he was trying to do. Andrew Cuomo is just an obnoxious New York politician. who and one of the things that you're noticing right now with this thing with the nursing homes and all that stuff, because you all know the story, is, people used to bitch about, well, Trump would never say he's sorry, never admit he's wrong, never did that. Well, I'm kind of seeing those qualities in Andrew Cuomo right now. He's not backing down no matter how many grandmas he killed. Am I allowed to say that? I don't either. I don't know. I guess. Hopefully YouTube doesn't get on me for that. A couple other people jumped in. Good morning, Michael Hatfield, Cynical Lindsay, TC Ball. Why are you so angry? Not TC Ball. Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry at the person? And somebody else jumped in here. Attack Alpaca. Good morning to you all. So let's talk about Andrew Cuomo. Oh, that's the wrong story. What happened to my Andrew Cuomo stuff? Oh no! What the hell did I do? That's that. It's that. I wanted to talk about Andrew Cuomo this morning. Well, there you go. What the hell happened there? Looks like I accidentally closed some windows. Well, give me a minute. I need a producer. Holy moly. Okay. That's not good. All right, let's go back to here. Give me a second, because I really want to talk about Andrew Cuomo first. Then we're going to talk about the insurrection, right? ML left my eyes of Santino Cuomo for the start. Excellent. Yeah. It's funny because he's not being featured on this page, not trending, but DeSantis is trending. Why is DeSantis trending? Any poll that does not include DeSantis is pretty much not worth your time. Oh, my God. They're already having a poll for the 2024 presidential primaries. Good Lord. DeSantis is not on the poll, though. They have Trump 53%, Mike Pence. Here, I'll show you this, even though I'm a little discombobulated here. So this Ryan Liza, who is Ryan Liza? Chief Washington correspondent and playbook co-author for Politico. Great. Anyway, they already have a poll for the 2021 nomination. Didn't we just inaugurate a president? How long ago was that? That was like, what the hell? I mean, why? Why? Anyway, Trump 53%, Pence 12%, Don Jr. 6%, Nikki Haley, Mitt Romney. Ha! The hell wants him? Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Pompeo, Josh Hawley, Tom Cotton, Tim Scott, Kristi Noem, Larry Hogan, Rick Scott. Rick Scott was 0. At least Tim Scott got 1%. Look, it's too early for a poll like this. And the fact that I am interested in the fact that Ron DeSantis is not in the poll. A lot of people. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Eric Bollert's such a lying weasel. 30,000 people have died from COVID in Florida. But hey, DeSantis raised his profile. But see, by Politico, by scrapping with reporters in the Biden administration, DeSantis has elevated his profile at a time when other big state governors have been laid low. Politico. You know, that 30,000 people that died of COVID in Florida, as a percentage of cases and population, is still 26th in the nation, despite the fact that every media outlet has been ripping him to shreds. And see, he's been fighting with the Biden administration about opening schools because Florida's had their schools open. And, you know, and so he's saying that Democrats put interest of education unions ahead of well-being of our children. Well, that is true, right? That is true. But I don't know. I don't know why they're doing that. Anyway, let me find the Andrew Cuomo article. I wanted to, I think it's from Daily Wire. Let me go find that stupid article that I accidentally closed this morning when I was doing this stuff. Was it Daily Wire? Yes, here it is. So anyway, Cuomo is blaming kind of everything around peripheral to what's happening in New York about, you know, the poor.
I see dead people.
The dead people in New York. And he had a press conference yesterday, which was really kind of embarrassing, if you ask me. And I'll pull that out of my, I have that in my messages here. All right, here we go. Let's see, we'll do that, and hang on a second. What a pain in the butt that I did this. Let's fix this right now. This is why I need a producer, to make sure my stories are ready when I go on. But, you know, when you self-produce everything. Let's see, that's Curtis Hogue. Okay, there we go. All right. So the lead story of the day is Andrew Cuomo in his press conference yesterday, which was really kind of embarrassing. Let me fit this in the window. God, what is going on with me today? This is crap. Anyway, Cuomo blames toxic political environment amid scandal. Death in nursing homes, he says, were accurately reported.
Why the fuck you lying?
Right? Why are you lying, Andrew Cuomo? New York Governor Andrew Cuomo admitted on Monday that his administration should have supplied more information to the public and done so faster amid a growing scandal over how his administration handled the nursing homes during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, listen to this sentence again. His administration should have supplied more information to the public and done it so faster. Now, remember, they were talking about, well, first of all, he got an Emmy Award because he was so good at using the television to disseminate information about the coronavirus and, yeah, whatever. And in his first press conference, such reports surfaced that his office underreported or withheld critical information on nursing home deaths during the coronavirus pandemic. Cuomo said all relevant information was fully, publicly, and accurately reported. Now that, okay, let me take that back for a moment. Because I said I played the lies. Yes, perfect timing for one of these. But okay, here's the thing. Here is his. Well, I'll show you. Maybe, I don't know if they have video here. Oh, this is the one I was going to play. I didn't even know that they had this in the article. I should have scrolled down more. Listen to this. Well, it'd be kind. It'd be really kind to call him a jackass because I gave Trump that moniker, but not in a good way. Or in a good way. This time, this is not in a good way. Listen to this. Listen to this shit. Okay. Is it still Sunday? No, it's Monday. Hi, Buster Outlaws. How you doing, by the way? And Patrice Ripley and Wikipedia Snippet and whoever else has jumped in. I'm glad you're here. I'm not looking at the chat. Okay, here. Listen to this press conference.
To be clear. All the deaths.
Wait a minute, hold it. Okay. When somebody begins with the words, to be clear, it's Tuesday. Oh, it is Tuesday. I don't know what day it is. No, it's not Sunday. It's Tuesday. When anyone starts with the words, to be clear, I am immediately suspect. All right. I'm going to start this over. Listen to this.
To be clear, all the deaths in the nursing homes and in the hospitals were always fully, publicly, and accurately reported.
All right, now, let's just start with that sentence. That sentence, is true. Kind of. Okay. So what he's saying is, yes, we reported all the deaths, but that's not the question right now. The question is, where did the people who die come from? Okay? Because they might have been in the hospitals and those deaths were fully, publicly, and accurately reported, but they were resultant of the fact that they were sending COVID patients into nursing homes, and then people in the nursing homes got sick, and then when they were in their critical stage, yes, they sent them to a hospital and reported the death in the hospital instead of the nursing home. So that sentence can be true and accurately reported, because he says all the deaths in nursing homes and hospitals were fully and accurately reported. But we know that is some weasel ass shit words. That's some weasel words, okay? Let's continue.
The numbers were the numbers, always. People did request information beyond the place of death.
Oh, and why were they asking that? I'm pretty sure. In fact, I know the federal government was asking that question, and some reason you guys decided not to tell them where the people came from or where they contracted COVID. Oh my gosh.
Not just how many in a nursing home, not just how many in a hospital. They did request different categorizations.
Yes, they
beyond
did.
Those counts. How many people died who were in a nursing home but then went to a hospital?
And why do you think they wanted that number? Because you telling them where they died doesn't give you the information that they were asking for. This guy's a prick.
How many people died who were in a hospital but then went back to a nursing home?
Oh.
How do you count presumed COVID deaths?
How do you count presumed COVID deaths? By the way, I do have my I do have my cup of reparations in hand, and I'm taking a sip while I'm listening to Andrew Cuomo. I hope that I don't spit it on my keyboard.
Everyone was busy. Everybody was here.
Oh, no. They asked you for specific information, and everyone was so busy they just couldn't give it to you over the last 7 or 8 months since they've been asking for it. Well, I'm sorry. We were kind of busy managing a pandemic in the middle of a pandemic.
Every day, we're in the midst of managing a pandemic. There was a delay in providing the press.
A delay. A delay. Is that what it was, Governor Cuomo? You mean when you had the numbers when they asked for it, and yet you withheld the information, the specific information that they asked for. In fact, your aide told a group of Democrats that to their faces, and it's recorded. So we know that this delay provided to the press just so happens to have been held up in the middle of an election season. Remember when they asked for it? They've been asking for this information, I think, since September. And your aide said why you wouldn't give them that information. And in fact, the only reason we're getting it now is because you got caught. Unbelievable.
The public all that additional information.
Oh, yeah.
There was a delay.
There was a delay.
What did we learn from this entire situation? What are we still learning?
Oh.
There are hospitals that perform well, and there are hospitals that performed less well.
Wow. Are we throwing the hospitals under the bus now? And what do you mean by performed well and perform less well? That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. Less well how? Because this is not, again, this is not the question. The question is about how many people you sent to nursing homes with COVID and how many more people died because of that. Because your record now, because you used to brag, oh, well, our COVID deaths in nursing homes is among the lowest average in the country. Well, is that because before they could die in the nursing homes, you were making sure they got to the hospital? Interesting. Because that changes things quite a bit. Is the video echoing on my end? No, it is not. Is anyone else having that problem? Just curiosity. And good morning, Asan and Axanar. How you doing? And Lord Stanhope. How you doing? All right, let's keep going here.
Still see hospitals performing less well.
Oh, is that
when you look at those vaccination numbers, hospitals with the same demographics
right
of
now.
Workforce
Nobody's asking
in the
about
same region.
Oh my God.
With different vaccination rates of their staff.
Yeah, we're not asking about that right now. That's not what the press wants to know. That's not what the American people want to know. That's not what the people in New York wants to know. And that's not what Janice Dean wants to know. Remember her? Because she's a little pissed that you may have killed her parents. Both of them. Yeah. That's the real question, Andrew.
That's indicia of performance of those hospitals.
Yeah.
There are nursing homes that performed well, and there are nursing homes that did not perform as well.
I wonder. Well, that's the end of that video. It makes me wonder. I mean, kind of like Led Zeppelin. Ooh, it makes me wonder. I don't know why I went Led Zeppelin on you. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, that's not the question anybody's asking, Andrew. Now but when I said, yeah, so what were the numbers, Andrew? Oh, who's calling? Oh, Fredo Sr. I see someone calling Fredo Sr. Yeah, that ain't it. That's not the question. But here's another question that he answered, which I found fascinating here. Because somebody asked him, somebody asked him on whether he'll apologize for the mass death in New York nursing homes. And this is a classic politician answer. And you know what, look, again, it'd be the same kind of answer you'd get from most politicians, just saying. But here's his answer to that.
Apologize? Look, I have said repeatedly, we made a mistake in...
Whoa! What? I've said repeatedly? We didn't know about this until a week ago or less, or this weekend. I don't know. We didn't know you were withholding this information, Mr. Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, whatever you want to call him, Fredo Sr. What someone's calling him, Santino, something like that. Anyway.
Creating the void. We made a mistake in creating the void.
What void?
When we didn't provide information, it allowed...
We didn't provide information. You mean lying by omission? I'm parsing his words very carefully. We didn't give the information. You mean lied by omission?
Allowed press, people, cynics, politicians getting the void. When we didn't provide information, it allowed press, people, cynics, politicians to fill the void.
Well, what would you expect? And there's a lot of people who knew this was happening. A lot of people knew that the numbers from the nursing homes were bullshit. And it's not just Andrew Cuomo. Same thing in New Jersey, same thing in Michigan. You know, and it's funny because we've known from the beginning of this epidemic that older people were the most vulnerable. We knew it from the people who were dying in China.
China is asshole.
We know it from the people who were dying in Italy because the elderly were the ones being most affected by it in Italy. We knew by the first people in the United States who were getting this virus in Washington State, and wiped out almost an entire nursing home. So the idea that he's putting, that they even thought it was a good idea to put COVID patients into hospitals, you know, returning COVID patients, returning to the nursing homes, I mean. Or even worse in Michigan, where they put people who weren't elderly, who weren't nursing homes, but they used nursing homes space. They were sending young patients, and they're using nursing home beds to, you know, supplement their bed space. That's even worse. But let's stick with Cuomo here. The fact that people asked this question during election season, and their excuse was they didn't want to, they didn't want to give, they were worried about looking bad in front of the Trump administration, or would have given him something to talk about. I can see why there's some people who are pissed off, particularly Janice Dean, if you know who Janice Dean is.
When you don't correct disinformation,
oh,
you allow it to continue.
Yeah. Who didn't correct the information? Didn't correct it. It seems like the people who are talking about this got it exactly right. Hello, Luna. It seems like the people who, it seems like they got it right. Uncle Bad Touch is here.
Come on, man.
That's also known as Joe Biden. Hello. Hi there. Anyway.
And we created the void.
Yeah, you did.
Not because people weren't working hard, Mike, because you know how hard people were working.
People were working hard, and we lied to you.
And, well, you should have prioritized providing more information. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we lied to you.
In retrospect, we should have
lied to you by omission.
prioritized providing more information.
We lied to you by omission. Say it out loud,
I
Governor.
get the operational
Governor.
Demand.
We
I don't
lied
like
to you
to
by
second guess
omission.
my team. They were all working 24 hours a
We
day.
lied to you by omission.
You know, remember with
24 hours a day? They were working 24 hours a day. Nobody works 24 hours a day. Maybe if you split up the team, they can take shifts. But you lied by omission.
you're in the middle of hell during this time.
Yeah, you lied by omission.
But no excuses.
You
No
lied by
excuses.
omission.
We should not have created the void.
We lied
We
by omission.
should have done a better job in providing information.
And we lied
should
by
have done a
omission.
better job of knocking down the disinformation.
Was it disinformation? We lied by omission.
You'd never knock.
Maybe he meant their disinformation. Something like that.
Down all these conspiracy theories, the political conspiracy theories, because they generate 10 a day.
Oh, you mean the ones that turned out to be true?
But we should have done a better job of providing
By telling you the
as
truth
much
and not lying
information
by
as we
omission.
could, as quickly as we could.
Because we were lying by omission.
We should have done a better job on that.
Because we were lying by omission.
Yes. And,
we should not have lied by omission.
and no excuses.
That's a whole list of excuses. My team was working 24 hours a day. That's an excuse of lying by omission. Didn't he just, he just said that. What? No excuses. You just made like 4 excuses in this answer. We should have done a better job by not lying by omission.
I accept responsibility for that.
Oh, well, that's good. I take responsibility.
I am in charge. I take responsibility.
Okay. You apologize, though. That was the
should
question.
have provided-
She asked if you apologize.
More information faster. We were too focused on doing.
All right, so the answer was no. The answer is no. I don't apologize. I take responsibility. Yeah. So let's see here. I'm shocked by everything that is happening in the United States, perplexed to see the inertia of the American people. What happened to the biggest democracy in the world, with the greatest power in the world? Where is the reaction of the people? Oh, this is interesting. Someone on the replies here. I despise this watered-down version of Trump. Just like Trump, the media gave this guy way too much free airtime. But Trump did some good things, I think. Trump did a lot of good things. You know what? Again, New York politician is a New York politician. All right, so that was the wash yo excuse. Charge him with manslaughter like 30,000 times, I guess. You know, I don't know. Here's what's interesting to me. So the former governor of Michigan, who they are charging with some criminal felony charges because of the Flynn water situation. Now Flint, Michigan, they're charging him criminally for that. Now, which is interesting, they didn't charge people from the Flint City Council. They didn't charge people who are members of those boards, although that's probably pending. People from there's the Department of Natural Resources or whoever does that stuff in Michigan. But they are charging the former governor. Do you think there is a chance in hell that the current Justice Department under our current president will go after Andrew Cuomo and charge him with anything regarding this? I don't even think they'll take it. I just saw Cuomo on his Emmy Award. I don't even think they'll take his Emmy Award away. They should recall his Emmy Award. But this was one of the guys that was going to be, you know, the great next possible presidential candidate down the road. And this is not good for him. Let's just put it that way. The only way I could see them charging him with something is perhaps if Kamala Harris becomes president sooner than later. Because right now, the Biden administration, I don't remember who was talking about this morning, but the Biden administration isn't doing any favors for all these governors in turmoil. You know, Gavin Newsom, they have got signatures for a recall, and by the March they're hoping to have around 2 million signatures. So in case they do that silly the handwriting matching that they're talking about, they'll have plenty of leeway. Andrew Cuomo now is going through some shit with this COVID stuff, and I don't know that if the administration is going to help him. I don't know. Gretchen Whitmer. I keep calling her Whitler. I don't know why I keep calling her Whitler. I have no idea. Anyway, Gretchen Whitmer also having trouble with her issue with the nursing homes. So it'll be interesting just to see if some of these Democratic, they would be hopefuls. They would be primary hopefuls if Joe Biden makes it through his 4 years and decides not to run again because he said he's only going to run for one term. Would she be, if Kamala Harris ends up becoming president sooner than later, this would knock out some of her big competition. So I don't see the Biden administration. 'Cause right now, is it just me? I'm thinking out loud right now. Is it just me? Or does it seem like so far, other than signing a bunch of executive orders, which I don't even know if he knew what he was signing half the time, but is it just me, or does it seem like the puppet master right now of the current president, I still have a hard time saying that, the current president is the puppet master of the current president seems to be Kamala Harris. You notice? I've never seen a vice president that is constantly there as much as I've seen Kamala Harris. Now, she's done some separate interviews on her own, but man, she's there for everything. Even like a lot of the interviews, she'll be sitting off to the side in some of the interviews. Like if she's might be trying to get his eye and make sure he doesn't say something stupid, which is really hard to. That's a full-time job in itself. I'm wondering, is she running the show? Even with some of the things that they're doing executive order wise, it just seems strange to me. But anyway, all right, let's move on because I want to talk about this New York Times story that has kind of been retracted, and I didn't talk about it yesterday because I can't remember. I was short yesterday because I was late. By the way, good morning. Check your logic. I'm trying to see if anyone else has come in since I've started. Looks like a bunch of people are here. By the way, again, I'm just reminding you, if you like what we do on the Morning Night Live, click the like button, that thumbs up thing down there. You know what I'm talking about. And share the stream out. Now, people shared out the stream? A few did. Let's see. So thank you, Cynical Lindsay, Tyler F., Captain Zach Sparrow, a.k.a. Zach Osborne, and Maddie for tweeting out the show today. Oh, and Ship Toaster. By the way, I don't know who Ship Toaster is, but yesterday when I saw that name on Twitter, follow me, and I said Ship Toaster, something like that. I didn't get the joke until this morning, so I apologize for being a little bit brain dead yesterday when I saw that. But anyway, okay. Oh, Obama is his puppeteer. No, I don't think so. I think Kamala Harris and the DNC are kind of tag teaming on. Anyway, so let's go to this New York Times story because this is fascinating. The New York Times retracts the Sicknick story. They changed the story. Hello, James Colley. What's up? Get on with it, boomer. Yes, I shall. Thank you, James Colley. Good morning. Like so many fake news stories about Donald Trump and his supporters, millions of America believe the Sicknick story as truth. And even a correction won't change their minds. I tell you what, I've seen this. So when I finish this story, this is going to explain why I don't think that the so-called insurrection was necessarily the direct cause of death of anybody except for one person. And that was the person who got shot by the police. So in a quiet but stunning correction, the New York Times backed away from its original report that Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick was killed by a Trump supporter wielding a fire extinguisher during the January 6th melee at the Capitol building. Shortly after American Greatness published this guy's column Friday that showed how the Times gradually was backpedaling on its January 8th bombshell, the paper posted this caveat. Update. New information has emerged regarding the death of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick that questions the initial cause of his death provided by officials close to the Capitol Police. Now remember, let me backtrack here. I'm going to say what I remember is when I first heard this story that a police officer died on that day. I distinctly remember the first thing I heard was that they thought it might be a stroke or something like that. Like that was the very first thing. And then later the story came out that he was beaten with a fire extinguisher and he went to the hospital bloody or whatever. And all of that story came from the New York Times. The paper continued to revise the story within the body of the original January 8th story. Law enforcement officials initially said Mr. Sicknick was struck with a fire extinguisher, but weeks later, police sources and investigators were at odds over whether he was hit. Medical experts have said he did not die from blunt force trauma, according to one law enforcement official. Now, what's missing, however, is how the Times first described what happened to Mr. Sicknick. Quote, Mr. Sicknick, 42, an officer for the Capitol Police, died Thursday from brain injuries he sustained after Trump loyalists who overtook the complex struck him in the head with a fire extinguisher, according to two law enforcement officials. The account of Sicknick's death was reported as fact, not speculation or rumor. Further, it appears that anonymous sources were not law enforcement officials, but people close to the police department, right? Which means they could have been anyone from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to inveterate liar U.S. Representative Adam Schiff to the Democratic Mayor of Washington, Muriel Bowser. But not only was the Times story untrue about Sicknick's death, accepted as fact by every news media organization from the Wall Street Journal to the Washington Post, political pundits on the Never Trump right also regurgitated the narrative that Sicknick was murdered, as did lawmakers on both sides. And we even heard that from the House impeachment managers who kept saying that story, even though there's, the story that he didn't die from blunt force trauma had already been out there for a few days. In an outrageous effort to create more favorable optics before the impeachment trial, House Democrats honored Sicknick in a rare memorial at the Capitol Rotunda on February 3rd. Joe Biden, in a statement issued after Donald Trump was acquitted Saturday afternoon, repeated the lie about Sicknick. It was nearly 2 weeks ago that Jill and I paid our respects to Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who laid in honor in the Rotunda after losing his life protecting the Capitol from a riotous, violent mob on January 6, 2021. Now, the Times correction might be one reason why Democrats on Saturday reversed their demand to subpoena witnesses. Yeah, that's right. That came out just before they decided to ixnay the witnesses itness ways, whatever I'm trying to say there. Hello, Scotty Dubs. But House impeachment managers cited the original January 8th Times article as evidence in their impeachment memo. So what did he die of? Well, we're getting to that. What did he die of? In fact, they used the original story that insurrectionists killed a Capitol Police officer by striking him in the head with a fire extinguisher. Any arrangement to compel testimony would have provided Trump's legal team with an opportunity to expose yet another myth in the Democrats' incitement case against the former president. Now that the Times has essentially retracted its explosive articles, will other news organizations, pundits, and lawmakers follow suit? Unfortunately, like so many media manufactured stories about Donald Trump and his supporters, millions of Americans already believe that the Sicknick story is truth. Even a Times correction won't change their minds. So what did he die of? Well, his brother, they think he probably died of a stroke. At least that was the very first thing I heard, because here's the thing. Now I wish, do they have the Times story here? I wonder if they, let's see here. Let's see if I want to find the archive of this story, because, so here's the updated story in the New York Times. I may not be able to see this. This is gonna mute me because of, here, let me go to archive, see here. Hang on here. All right, so this is the most recent archive of this. So here's the update. New information emerged regarding the death of the Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick that questions the initial cause of death provided by officials close to the Capitol Police. Now, so this is interesting. So now the story, because the original story said that he was beaten with a fire extinguisher and that he was taken away in an ambulance bloodied. Okay, that was the original story in the New York Times. Then later they realized that no, Sicknick actually went back to the precinct. There was no blood force trauma, and he texted his brother about what happened and said he was doing fine. Now, you would think that if he had been hit with a fire extinguisher and was bloody, he might have told that information to his brother. And then he later collapsed at the precinct. But anyway, the United States Capitol Police officer died Thursday night from injuries sustained. We still don't know that because they didn't have any evidence of injuries while physically engaging. Now that's a change with pro-Trump rioters who descended on the U.S. Capitol the day before. The fifth fatality linked to the chaos that engulfed the nation's capital on Wednesday, according to the authorities. Now this is updated from the 12th of February. The other part of this, too, the fifth death linked to the chaos. Now, let's remember what those other deaths were. 3 of the deaths were natural cause incidents, 2 heart attacks, and then 1 lady who collapsed while in the. Now, she may have gotten. They said she might have been trampled, but they don't even know that now. And then the other death was the officer who shot, now I'm blanking on the name, but who shot the protester, and she died at the scene. So now let's not say that there were not idiots out there fighting with the police, and 140 officers sustained injury. 1 officer may lose an eye. So these idiots who were fighting the police need to be whatever, prosecuted for whatever they did. But I don't want to minimize that in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, so the officer, Brian D. Sicknick, was only the 4th member of the force to be killed in the line of duty since its founding 2 centuries ago. After the Bedlam of Wednesday's siege and the recrimination that filled the airwaves the next day, a silence descended over the Capitol grounds late Thursday as hundreds of law enforcement officers from scores of agencies lined the streets to pay tribute to their fallen comrade. Now, I'm going to stop here in this article because actually there is a important part here that I need to read. So, but the loss of life also underscored the failure of law enforcement agencies to prevent the siege of the Capitol, and with leaders of both political parties calling for investigations that appeared likely to lead to calls for profound changes to the Capitol Police. Well, maybe, or maybe they just have better planning when they know that something might happen. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and the FBI. But anyway. Now, the other part here, the circumstances surrounding Mr. Sicknick's death were not immediately clear, and the Capitol Police say said only that he had passed away due to injuries sustained while on duty. Law enforcement officials initially said Mr. Sicknick was struck with a fire extinguisher. That's false. No law enforcement officials said that. But weeks later, police sources and investigators were at odds over whether he was hit. Medical experts have said he did not die from blunt force trauma, according to one law enforcement official. That law enforcement official would have been the medical examiner. He returned to his division office and collapsed, the Capitol Police said in a statement. He was taken to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. They still don't have any injuries, though. They don't have injuries. That's just it. They didn't have any, God. So they haven't changed this article completely. Anyway. So anyway, the officer's death bring the fatalities from Wednesday's mayhem to 5. One participant in the pro-Trump rampage, Ashley Babbitt, was fatally shot by a Capitol police officer inside the building as she climbed through a broken window leading to the speaker's lobby. 3 other people died after experiencing what were believed to be medical emergencies in the area around the Capitol, police said. And the fire extinguisher thing, because some guy was spraying a fire extinguisher outside, but Sicknick wasn't part of that area. So they keep talking about the fire extinguisher, and they're not going to let that go. We know that there was no blunt force trauma to Sicknick. Anyway, the only thing that I've heard that could be it is that he had a stroke of some sort. Because, again, he didn't have any blunt force trauma injuries, or possibly, because what he told his brother in the email is that, he was fine, didn't have any injuries, he did get pepper sprayed. Now, there's some speculation that he had a certain reaction to the pepper spray a delayed reaction to the pepper spray or something. But a lot of people, the only thing that I've heard is that he possibly had a stroke. Now, let's see. Let me check this real quick. After Freddie. So, and then the questions are, I will ask a question, namely how long the New York, and the other thing is, okay, good point. As I'm reading someone else talking about this, a couple important points. How long has the New York Times known about this? Because I actually heard this probably in the first couple days. And so I'm trying to figure out how the New York Times first doesn't make this retraction until, miraculously, after impeachment is over. Now clearly this was found out before the impeachment happened, because it seems to be one of the reasons why the Democrats no longer wanted to have witnesses. Because there were some other problems too, because the witnesses, or the impeachment managers, also doctored some of their evidence, which we might get to that today too. But it still makes you wonder how long the New York Times sat on it. And then the other point is, it's yet another case where the country is not served well by the 24/7 news cycle. This is who's this by? Let's see. Oh, this is by Oregon Muse at Ace of Spades, who says, second point is, this is yet another case where this country is not served well by the 24/7 news cycle and the big rush to get the story out first before anybody else. In a chaotic event like the January 6th protest, it usually takes several days or even a week or more to get things properly sorted out. So the absolute certainty with which CNN and the New York Times and other media outlets reported that Sicknick died because he was clobbered with a fire extinguisher is, well, perhaps not surprising, given their we'd rather be first than right method of journalism. So basically what we have to do for every controversial national event is to simply listen to this. Who does this sound like? Now, I'm going to read this paragraph and then you tell me who this sounds like. So basically what we have to do for every controversial national event is to simply ignore every bit of reporting that comes out on it for a week or maybe more. Because the only thing we can be certain of is that whatever the media prints or broadcasts about it for the first few days is going to be bullshit. Guaranteed. We're better off just turning off the TV and avoiding online news sites entirely. What does that sound like? Oh, it could have been a blood clot too. Who does that sound like? That sounds so familiar. It sounds a little bit like PDawgKnight's 3 to 5 day rule, doesn't it? Because obviously the 3 to 5 day rule is much better. The 3 to 5 day rule would have helped a lot in Jussie Smollett. The 3 to 5 day rule would have helped a lot with the Covington kids, and so many other things. Although with Mario Cuomo, with Andrew Cuomo and the deaths of the nursing homes, that might have needed a 3 to 5 month rule. But whatever, 3 to 5 day rule. I'm telling you, anytime something comes out important, the 3 to 5 day rule. Perfect. All right, let's move on. Oh, what the hell did I do there? Okay, let's see. No, I just got a bunch of random stuff that I was going to talk about yesterday afternoon, which I didn't stream yesterday afternoon. I had some things come up and it didn't work out. So sorry about that. I hope no one was waiting with bated breath. About that insurrection, I found an interesting article because I still say that wasn't an insurrection. That was not a coup attempt. That was not an insurrection. Because, and it wasn't incited, by the way. It was not an incited insurrection by Donald Trump by any means. Because, again, there were tens of thousands of people there to see his speech. And the people came to see his speech hadn't left the speech yet to go and to cause mayhem at the Capitol. And the first people who were arriving at the Capitol about 15 minutes into Trump's speech. And the mayhem started before the speech was even over. And if this had been a insurrection orchestrated by President Trump after he said to go peacefully and patriotically, let your voice be heard, why isn't it all the tens of thousands of people didn't participate in the insurrection, right? Why not? There were tens of thousands of people there, but yet only a few hundred were causing problems with the police. Everyone else was
peacefully protesting.
Right? Anyway, so I found this article very interesting from the American Thinker. The insurrection hallucination and how we got there. It's a little history. Just a little history on some of the things that have kind of led up to, well, let's just talk about big media lies, okay? The gaslighting by the media. It's no secret the media has lots of ways to gaslight you. One of those is failing to report significant happenings. Another is booking and quoting people whose views they want to advance because they target those they dislike. Oh, Lincoln Project, maybe? Yet another is spreading outright lies.
Lies, yeah.
I don't know why I did that. Like the contrafactual assertions that Antifa BLM riots around the country for the past 4 years were mostly peaceful. Or that President Trump wanted people to inject bleach to kill the spreading virus. Remember, they still talk about that. Someone told that joke again about Donald Trump, told you to inject bleach, which he never did. That is a fact. Anyway, this week, despite their best efforts, a lot of those lies and liars have been unmasked. A short history. Remember Michael Avenatti when he was making wild charges against President Trump? He was a media darling. From March 7th through March 10th, 2018, newsbookers pumped more gas into him than the Hindenburg. Every Rolodex of every media booker must have worn thin the page with Avenatti's contact information. The 47-year-old attorney has also appeared on broadcast network programs, including NBC's Megyn Kelly Today and today, ABC The View and Good Morning America, HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, and CBS's Late Night Show. Avenatti has not appeared frequently on Fox News, but was interviewed by anchor Shannon Bream on Fox News at Night on March 20th. He was slated to appear on The Story with Martha McCallum on April 23rd, but canceled due to what he described at the time was a commitment to a legal case. I think he's still in jail. I'm not sure. He's now facing substantial jail time on a variety of felony charges, but until he was criminally charged, viewers were led to believe even in his most implausible accounts against the president were to be credited. Oh yeah, he didn't I don't think they've had his trials yet. He's got trials in multiple places, in fact. Anyway, the next up is the Republican Lincoln Project. Much of the same was the Liberal Front Lincoln Project, a gaggle of self-described Republicans opposed to every president responsible for more conservative policies. Oh, for the very president responsible for more conservative policies and programs that Republicans could have hoped for. And that's why I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I didn't trust him to be that guy. But he turned out to be that guy. And that's why I voted for him in 2020. But I digress. Apart from personal animus, nothing better to do since Trump didn't and wouldn't hire them, probably because John McCain, who had hired two of them, John Weaver and Steve Schmidt, and John Kasich, for whom Weaver had worked, both lost. And ego. It was a way to really line their pockets. Cable news bookers and the New York Times loved them and got out the old air pump for them too. This week, the Lincoln Project seems to have grounded its flight and locked its doors over substantial claims that one of its founders, John Weaver, engaged in abusive homosexual activities with young men, including some who were working there. The project is, or was, a super PAC financed to the tune of $90 million, mostly grifted away from liberals, and therefore freed from detailed public disclosure of their transactions. A lot of the funds ended up in their own pockets. Shocker. And the best account of the dubious financial accounting of the operation and its atrocious personnel policies is to be found in a link, which oh, good Lord. I'll just link that article. The result of an interview with a number of those who worked there. Quote, the interviews depict an organization that grew quickly with little planning at its inception, and then began to spiral out of control as its founders quarreled over the organization's directions, finances, and tactics, and even who would own the donor data that the project would eventually amass. Some of the co-founders had an informal management agreement that excluded the others without their knowledge. Several had private firms to which the Lincoln Project channeled tens of millions of dollars that are then not subject to disclosure, while others were paid relatively modest amounts directly or nothing at all. There were clashes over ego and resentment over podcast and television contracts. Wait, what? People are starting to sue Trump over 1/6 over these people. Oh, are these people fucking retarded? Oh my gosh. And someone up here says it was a planned look into insurgents, USA, Ali Akbar. Was it though? And if it was, why didn't the FBI have people ready? They should have known. And I did watch Ali Akbar on Twitter. He is planning the Stop the Steal event. As far as the speeches and things like that, I don't think they were planning insurgents though. I really don't. I just think they, wanted to make noise like the lefties always do like the lefties did when the Supreme Court nominees were up for grabs, right? During the Kavanaugh hearings, when they tried to break into the insurgents tried to break into the Supreme Court, and the insurgents went into the Capitol building and occupied the Capitol building and occupied Nancy Pelosi's office. Was that an insurrection too? Oh no, because I guess they were the right kind of insurgents, so to speak. Anyway, several had I have little doubt that many, if not all, of the media who promoted these fakers, aka the Lincoln Project, knew full well what Weaver had been up to. Karl Rove did in 2004 and was attacked by The Atlantic for homophobia when he raised it. If he knew early on, I believed it no secret. Well, we know that most of them knew. There's documentation that they knew. Then there's New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who we talked about. I'm going to skip him. Because we just talked about him at length. And then finally, the Democratic impeachment follies. Not only but here's the part about Cuomo too. What was the media saying about Cuomo 6 months ago, 8 months ago? I'm going to read this. You can hardly pick up a newspaper or turn on television news without seeing Andrew Cuomo depicted as someone who bravely locked down his state to prevent rapidly spreading COVID-19 from killing off more of his citizens. The president got a hospital ship there in record time and provided every assistance, including a substantial number of respirators Cuomo begged for and didn't use. In truth, no one was more responsible for the death of 15,000 elderly in New York nursing homes than he. Refusing to use the emergency facilities provided him, he forced nursing homes to house COVID-19 patients removed from hospitals. And to add to his shame, he withheld the nursing home death count because his top aide, Melissa DeRosa, admitted this week in a conference call, "We froze out of fear of federal prosecutors who would use the truth against them." Anyone who spent a moment looking into the nursing home deaths knew precisely what a disaster Cuomo had inflicted on New York's elderly, but he was the left's shining star, like Avenatti, someone they saw as a future presidential contender. Yay. We all suffer from this duplicity, as James Freeman explains, quote, New York's failure to publicly acknowledge its nursing home death toll and prioritize the protection of the elderly, the state instead inflicted broad destructive lockdowns on the general population, had consequences far beyond New York. The state was an early virus hotspot, and its false data presented a misleading picture of COVID impact as scientists and policymakers sought to understand the new health threat. Yeah, we would have been better off paying attention to what Florida did than New York. Florida's economy is doing pretty good. And again, they're 26 per capita as far as the disaster part of this goes. Legislators are now tardily moving to censure him and strip him of his emergency powers. Not all press wore blindfolds about the corruption in New York. Janice Dean of Fox News covered it as well as she could in the face of state officials' deception. But even as late as Friday, neither CNN, which treated Cuomo like a major hero and celebrity, nor MSNBC covering the unraveling of the nursing home death cover-up. Cuomo's not the only COVID-19 rock star. There was, of course, public health, partisan, weather-vane Dr. Anthony Fauci, who gave us so many different answers to every question over this last year. Sorry, that's my words, not theirs. Who, along with the CDC and WHO, should be treated as liars, not as sources of sound advice on the virus. You do recall this effusive praise of Cuomo on PBS, don't you? Quote, we've got to do things that are very clear. We've got to do things that are very clear we need to do to turn this around. Remember, we can do it. We know you can do it properly. You bring down those cases. We've done it. We've done it in New York. New York got hit worse than any place in the world, and they did it correctly by doing the things you're talking about. Yeah, that's Fauci talking about Cuomo, who now we know is full of shit. Anyway, and then finally, the Democratic impeachment follies. Not only are the impeachment managers lying and flailing about with a losing case, but as Scott Adams wisely observes, the provocation for the events of January 6th in the Capitol are directly tied to the media's loss of credibility. The weakness of the case against Trump is revealed. There is no evidence of the president inciting a riot. He asked the crowd to peacefully demonstrate for transparency and fair elections. So, by innuendo and implication, they are attempting to make their case against what Adams called this tapestry approach, seized upon in the absence of direct evidence. Trump's lawyer played video clips of the Democrats using the same words they accused him of using with which to incite the crowd: fight and fight back. In that same vein, Glenn Reynolds, the Instapundit, links to a number of media and Democratic claims of election machine fraud. At the same time, the Democrats accused Trump of inciting a riot by claiming election fraud and wanting a full audit of the results. They have advanced in their arguments damnable lies.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
I've been waiting to use that one. Among them, that he called racist and neo-Nazis fine people, that a Trump supporter called for the cavalry when she had called for the cavalry, her prayer group, to meet, and they have cut from their quote of his speech his call for them to demonstrate peacefully for transparent, free elections. Just as counterfactual is the claim that this was an armed rebellion. Yeah, they keep talking about how they were armed too, and Pelosi keeps talking about it, whatever. There were no guns found on any of the protesters at the Capitol. The murder of Ashley Babbitt by Capitol Hill police, a Capitol Hill police officer, would have sparked demonstrations around the country and further calls for defunding the police if only she had been announced Antifa or BLM thug. Then Adams tweets, Scott Adams, please stop asking me to form an opinion around your hallucination that someone incited an insurrection. That only happened in your imagination. It was created by the fake news industry. I don't form policy opinions around the hallucinations of strangers. Yeah, that was not an insurrection. Anyway. In a subsequent podcast, he explains that people believe the election was not fair. The media repeatedly saying no evidence of the cheating has been found doesn't persuade them that it doesn't exist. That the press keeps insisting we must believe that it was fair enough to erase this belief because the system as it was run in 2020 was not transparent and was run by liars who had huge reasons to lie. In some, because of its ridiculous behavior over the past 4 years, voters had no reason to believe the media's claim that the election was fair. Nor, he argues, with strong reason, should we buy into the media claim that this was a coup attempt, an effort to overthrow the government. In fact, the crowd, like Senator Ted Cruz, wanted to fortify the system, make it more transparent by allowing audits of the disputed states to protect the system. On Friday, the Senate seemed to vote. They were all quite confused as to what they were voting on, or so it appeared, to allow witnesses. Trump's counsel then subpoenaed Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. I suggest this was to confirm that Trump had offered in advance to place 10,000 National Guard personnel there, and they refused his assistance. I forgot all about that. He did do that. He offered National Guard troops, and they declined. I was looking forward to the Democrats further beclowning themselves and tying up the Senate for months more, but sometime on Saturday morning, a couple of neutrons must have created a synapse, and they decided against allowing any witnesses. Saturday afternoon, the vote was called, and Trump was acquitted, so the show trial for their base ended with a whimper, just as did impeachment 1. So there you go. That's the entire article from the American Thinker, but I really liked it, so that's why we went through the whole thing. PDawgKnight, hey PDawgKnight, how many inches on the ground in Minnesota? There are, on the actual ground, like around my yard, there's probably 4 or 5 inches of snow, but the streets are completely plowed. We didn't get any new snow this weekend, so in fact we haven't gotten really, other than about 1/4 of an inch of snow this weekend. We haven't seen any snow, but we've seen the extreme cold. Like I said, it's like 15 below here right now. So just there you go. And Time magazine admitted the election was stolen. Yeah, they stole it, not in the way that we're talking about, but yeah, they absolutely tipped the scales on the flow of information. This is the way I would put it. And their strategy was to everything negative Trump, nothing negative about Democrats or Biden, Harris, was their strategy. And that's, and then all the just changing of the rules in certain states to make it easier for people to vote, so there's no voter suppression. Well, it also made it easier to cheat, so there you go. Cuomo also allowed Fashion Week and the Chinese New Year's after Trump told them not to hold large gatherings. Yeah, they did that, and in fact, that was the same time Nancy Pelosi was in Chinatown in San Francisco, walking around telling, you can come, it's safe, and We'll be here waiting for you. Yeah. Anyway. Let's continue. Oh, this is, oh, good God. Let's see. Inside the Lincoln Project's toxic workplace. Oh, this is that article. So, it'll be in the tabs. I'm not going to go through it, but this is the woman who was being interviewed or was interviewing someone from the Lincoln Project. And this is kind of where the blow up with Weaver came. It's okay. This is just woman on gender politics. Excuse me. I'm sorry, people. I need some more reparations here, real quick. But this is talking. So this is the article. It'll be in the tabs. Inside the Lincoln Project's toxic workplace. You can read that one on your own. Let's see here. So I don't know who was provoking this violence, but the Trump's impeachment manager, what's his name, Martin Michael Van der Veen. His home was vandalized, and his law practice is under siege, so to speak, due to his defense of President Trump during the second Democrat-led sham impeachment. Attorney Michael Van der Veen has had his family terrorized, his life threatened, his home vandalized, and his business descended upon by people chanting a nonsense little ditty. According to the Washington Times, Van der Veen, one of the lawyers who defended former President Donald Trump successfully in the Senate impeachment trial, said after the verdict Saturday that his family and home and law practice are under siege due to his representation of Mr. Trump. He said, "My home was attacked. I'd rather not go into it because it would encourage other people to do it more. But, I've had nearly 100 death threats," he told reporters. "My home was attacked last night. Windows broken, spray paint, really bad words, spray painted everywhere. Among the vandalism, someone spray painted the word traitor on the driveway of his Philadelphia home." In addition to that horror show, a small gaggle of Refuse Fascism protesters gathered outside his Philadelphia office to urge someone there to convict Trump. And here's just this. Here's the noisy people in front of their office. Now this is a very small group. So
for 4 years, Trump was given free reign.
Well, he's the president.
For 4 years, Trump was given free reign as a fascist to consolidate his power
As
over
a
this
fascist.
country. And
He's
people,
a fascist.
there were
Yes,
protests,
fascist.
but overwhelmingly,
Okay, well, this is a pretty small
We
group,
allow
so I'm not sure why they're giving them enough air to
seeing
even
now,
be seen.
in this moment,
But the
where
fact that
even
his
though
house
his
is
guilt
being,
crystal clear,
being vandalized, the fact that they're protesting him, it'll be interesting to see if that continues or if that just goes. It's fascinating. Like I said this yesterday. They just can't quit him. just can't quit Trump. It's kind of like Brokeback Mountain. We just can't quit him. Anyway, so just a couple of news ditties that don't need a lot of explanation. Good news, because especially my Lady Boomer and I are planning a trip later in the year. They're saying that domestic travelers will not need a negative coronavirus test before flying, according to the CDC. That's good news, because they were talking about doing these vaccination passport bullshit, right? Airlines won't mandate that travelers show proof of negative coronavirus test before domestic flights, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention announced. They said domestic travelers wouldn't need to take coronavirus test before flights in an apparent rejection of a policy President Joe Biden's administration had reportedly considered. At this time, the CDC is not recommending that requirement, and that's all the article really says over and over and over. But the Biden administration had teased the idea that they might be requiring people to have vaccinations and or negative test, and calling it a travel passport. But and remember the other day when we talked about Ron DeSantis was livid because that would greatly affect Florida. So that's good news. Also, I'm pretty sure you saw this one too. But if you haven't, this is worth the time to watch. And it's in another American Thinker article. Trump attorney Van der Veen reads the riot act to a CBS interviewer. If you haven't seen this, I'm pretty sure that it is it linked in here? I thought it was. Let's see. I don't know why they didn't link it in here. That's weird. Usually they do. But anyway, you'll have to look that one up. One of the things that endeared. Oh, wait, did we already read this one? We already read this one Saturday. Okay, I'm going to move on. But the article's here. If you haven't seen it, it's glorious. Just look the Van der Veen CBS interview. Look that up on YouTube. It'll be there. Let's see. Let's go back here. There's also there's a website or a blog from WordPress, I think, called Behind the Black. And they've been doing a series on the latest people to be blacklisted for things. And apparently at, what is this school called? The Illinois Institute of Technology. They proposed starting a chapter of the National Conservative Organization, Turning Point USA, which, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Turning Point USA, but regardless, if a student group wants to, or if some students want to form a group at a school, that you'd think they'd be allowed to, right? Well, not so fast. This, hang on a second here. Let's do full page. Oh, man. Okay, there we go. Today in blacklisting, after his proposal was put forth, classmates began to... Oh, here we go. They're coming for you next. When a conservative student at the Illinois Institute of Technology proposed starting a chapter of the National Conservative Organization Turning Point USA at the school, a slander campaign was immediately started by other students against both TPUSA and the student, forcing him to back down. After his proposal was put forth, classmates began to message his fraternity brothers asking whether he was attempting to lead a hate group on campus. That's gosh, that's one of the buzzwords. Oh, you're trying to foment hate. No, we just have a group that thinks differently. Well, that's a hate group. The conservative student said that this occurred on 3 separate occasions. On January 27th, the conservative student again presented to the student government, this time to withdraw his proposal. The conservative student emphasized that he had no malicious intent in proposing a TPUSA chapter, but merely aimed to start a political discourse on campus. The conservative student apologized for proposing a TPUSA club and stated that he would consider forming a group under another national conservative organization. Okay. I would have probably advised this kid not to back down, but that's just me. Derek Ray, the executive vice president of the Student Government Association, commented that the entire campus had completely mobilized, leading to a huge movement on the opposing side against the prospect of a TPUSA group at Illinois Tech. Oh my gosh, the horrors.
How dare you?
He applauded the conservative student for withdrawing his request to start a TPUSA chapter. I would have told him, hey, I'm proposing this. You need to vote it up or down, and then whatever that means in the end. But anyway, senior Hannah Lauren Marino asked whether the conservative student was pressured into rescinding his request, the conservative student informed the student government that classmates began to wonder if he, his peers, and his fraternity brothers were terrible people for trying to start the club. Following the January 27th student government meeting, the conservative student provided campus reform with screenshots, one of which appears to show a student rejoicing in an online message that, quote, "We managed to successfully cyberbully a student organization to death." Well, I don't think that's what they said, but that's what he said they said. There's only one reason these partisan leftists, and that's what they are, wanted to block the new TPUSA chapter. Unlike the moribund and largely uninteresting and dull Republican Party clubs, TPUSA has been very effective on campuses nationwide at countering left-wing hate and censorship while drawing to it large numbers of new students, teaching them that conservative values are about freedom and justice and equal treatment before the law, not the left's slanderous lies of white supremacy and hate. So anyway, the rest of that article is there. Moving on to Joe Biden. Biden to Congress, he wants to enact major restrictions on constitutionally protected Second Amendment rights. Now, I'm not a gun guy, but you know what? I believe in the Second Amendment, and I think what Joe is proposing is unconstitutional. But is that just me? I don't think so. Democrat President Joe Biden called on Congress to clamp down on Americans' constitutionally protected Second Amendment rights on Sunday, demanding gun bans and new laws that will allow people to sue gun manufacturers, that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. I'm calling on Congress to enact common sense gun law reforms, including requiring background checks on guns, all gun sales, banning assault weapons, that's subjective, and high-capacity magazines, and eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on our streets. This is a if that's not a, what's the thing? Buzzword word salad. Gotta tell you. In the statement, Biden's call for banning assault weapons likely amounts to a call for a ban on semi-automatic firearms, and there is no language included in the statement about allowing gun owners who currently own those weapons to be able to keep those weapons. Oh, because Beto's going to come and collect them from you. Ha! Right. If gun owners are not allowed to keep those specific semi-automatic firearms under Biden's ban, that would effectively amount to a mandatory gun confiscation type program. Good luck with that. I'm pretty sure because I've been hearing about boating accidents all over the country that these terrible boating accidents, and weird, they, for whatever reason, they were going to go out there with their AR-15s and they were going to shoot some fish in the water, and they had these terrible boating accidents, and all their guns flew out of the boat into the depths of the lakes and oceans. And I don't know how they're going to confiscate those guns. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you've probably seen some of the bills, like Sheila Jackson Lee's bill. There's a nightmare. You might want to look that one up. Anyway, also interesting that now, regardless of what you may think about Israel, this is a very odd thing that just happened. Biden is the first president in 40 years to punt on contacting Israel. Now, again, whether you like it, whatever you think about Israel, they are our single most important ally in the Middle East. And, it's the one democracy. We do have other countries that are now recognizing Israel. And it's just odd that Biden would not contact Israel. And in fact, doesn't even list Israel as an American ally. Thank you, Ex-Bubba Hotep, for the just shy of a Jackson. Who says, just joining after seeing a remarkably stupid part of the internet. My heart goes out to all the grandparents who never got to hold their grandchildren because of COVID nonsense restriction and have passed away. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's heartbreaking. After seeing a remarkably stupid part of the internet, I would have to see that. Think about that. Think about that. And even Yeah. Oh, that's a depressing thought. I could not imagine. Hearing about your first grandchildren, only be able to see them maybe on a Skype call or a Zoom call, not be able to hold your grandchild because, well, COVID, or just the loneliness of people. I know when I talk to my mom, every so often, and she's home alone and she doesn't go anywhere because she's, has a fear of COVID and not the fear of COVID, and plus she's old and she doesn't really get out much anyway. But the fact that she can't even have people come see her except for her nursing aides and things like that, and it's just I can't imagine. We also have another friend that who doesn't go out, an older friend of ours who doesn't go out because of this, and a lot of it's just restrictions that are some are arbitrary, I guess. But yeah, what a bummer of a thing. Anyway, thank you, Expo Hotep. I appreciate that for the donation. Yeah, this article, though, President Joe Biden is the first American leader in 40 years not to contact Israel leaders as one of his first actions in the White House, setting up what could be 4 years of chilly relations between America and its top Middle East ally. Biden already phoned multiple world leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, but during his 23 days in office has yet to speak with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, making Biden the first president in modern history to punt on bolstering U.S.-Israel relations during his initial days in office. Every president, going back to at least Ronald Reagan in 1981, made contact with their Israeli counterpart within a week of assuming office, according to a review of news reports. Congressional foreign policy leaders slammed Biden's Netanyahu snub, prompting a flurry of questions from the White House press secretary Jen Psaki, who has declined to disclose when or if Biden will call the Israeli leader. Psaki said on Friday the White House would not list Israel as a U.S. ally when asked about the relationship during her daily press briefing. Whoa. That's what? Our most reliable ally in the Middle East. Interesting. Modern presidents going back to Reagan made calls or overtones to Israel during their first days in office, sending a message the United States would continue to stand for the Jewish state's security. Biden's diplomatic slight comes as Israel faces encroaching terrorist threats and danger of a nuclear-armed Iran. He has also hired several individuals with a background in anti-Israeli activism, including Mahar Bitar and top White House National Security Office official, a top White House National Security official who spent his youth organizing boycotts of the Jewish state. The State Department's Iran envoy, Robert Malley, also has been a vocal critic of Israel. So he's apparently he's been bringing in BDS sympathizers or BDS people into his administration, and they're not going to. Oh, that's really strange. It's really strange. Noble Valor says he's the descendant of a Nazi sympathizer. That's why. Well, I don't know if he is or not, but boy, that's kind of crazy. Wow. I'm still reeling a little bit over Expo Hotep's post. Oh, shoot, I got to go, too. I didn't realize it was this late. Thank you, Maddie. And Maddie.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
With the 5 spot saying through Streamlabs, been researching this. He is talking to Palestine about a 2-state solution. That is probably why he hasn't phoned PM Netanyahu. And I see what you're saying there, but it's still unusual. It's still really unusual because they are our most reliable ally in the Middle East. And I could see not making it just the first call, but you'd think that he would be making these calls. It could be too that Netanyahu had a great relationship with Trump, and so anything that has anything to do with Trump is wrong, and he wants to turn it over. By the way, 47 executive orders to date, and if you have more executive orders than you have days in office, you might be a dictator. Hey! All right. The other articles that I didn't get to. San Francisco criminals now targeting residents due to the lack of tourists, say city officials. Yes, if you remember when me and Lady Boomer and the boy took our trip down the West Coast, one day into San Francisco, our car got broken into and a lot of stuff were stolen out of it. And the criminals in San Francisco are rampant of stealing shit out of cars, especially if they have out-of-state plates, which our rental car did. And but now, since there's not so many tourists, now they're breaking into local residents' cars and whatever. So you can read about that. The other problem is they have one of those Soros-backed like city attorneys or whatever that isn't going to prosecute anybody. Well, let's put it this way. When we were there in our first day in San Francisco, we went out for lunch and our car was broken into and some of our stuff was stolen. We went to the police station that day, the local precinct, which was 3 blocks away, and they took our information, and we is there a chance we'll get contacted? And the person at the police station was like, well, I don't know. This is the third case that we've had in an hour, and we get about 30 of these a day. Oh, okay. So they probably don't have time to look for all these people, but there are organized rings that go around stealing shit out of people's cars. But and now they're doing it to people with California plates, San Francisco residents. So there's a long thread in here and more information on that. Also, let's see, what was the other one I didn't get to here? Oh, a reading list for Black History Month. There's just some interesting reading Black authors about different things. Regarding ones like the Can't See Lighting, the lifetimes of Charlie Parker. And they're not also, I guess they're not necessarily Black authors, but just Black history stuff. Here's an interesting title though. Destined to Witness, Growing Up Black in Nazi Germany. Interesting. The other one, The Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama. It was a novel and not an autobiography, and the author is a composite character. By contrast, David admits that his book, Sex Rebel Black, authored under a pseudonym, was actually an autobiography. Anyway, so it's an interesting article from American Greatness. And then let's see. Oh, the only reason I had this article open, The Closing of the American Mind, is because this talks about, there was a book that I read, I bought it just when I was out of college, a book called The Closing of American Mind by Alan Bloom. And it's called, the subtitle is How Higher Education Has Failed Democracy and Impoverished the Souls of American Students. And it's, I got to go back and read that book because it's uncanny how well it is predicted kind of where we're at today. So just thought that was an interesting article. And then the last one, talking about the problems of the left rich woke alliance, talking about how the left seems to be it's interesting. They always say that Republicans are the party of wealth, but the left, with their big tech overlords and everything, there's a weird alliance between the left and the rich to try to change America, and not always for the better. So those are the extra articles in the stream today, but I must call it a day because it's that time. So everybody, thanks for being here. Those of you who've been able to make it through my ramblings today, and hopefully you have a great day. As you know, I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. And I don't know the GMT because it changed with daylight savings time, so I have no idea. But hopefully you can come back on another day and enjoy the show. Hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, hit the like button. Also, share the stream if you're watching on replay. Put a comment in the comment section. Or even if you're watching live, but you didn't see the whole show, come back and put a comment in the comment section. Tell me something that tell me something about something we talked about today. You know what I mean? Just throw a comment in the comment section. I don't know why I'm pushing comments, but it's very nice to see when people who didn't get to see the show live throw a comment in. So do that. And if you'd like to support the channel in a more monetary way, that's always available. The information is in the description down below. Streamlabs, Venmo, and Cashapp work 24 hours a day. And during the show, you can do Streamlabs SuperChats and SuperChats via YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for being here. But it is that time. I got to go. My name is PDawgKnight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.